It's Monday, the 23rd of July, 2018, and welcome to Navigating Your Day. In Jinshin Jitsu, Safety Energy Lock number 23 came into the universe meaning proper circulation maintenance. And Safety Energy Lock number 23 is located in the back of the waist. So if you put your hands in your waist and you just turn your fingers towards the back, then you are holding Safety Energy Lock number 23, and it's over the kidney and adrenal areas. So proper circulation maintenance has got to do with the circulation of everything in the body and the being. So that is the fluids in the body, so the lymph, the blood, the hormones, the neurotransmitters, the circulation of energy throughout the body. It has got to do with keeping things moving and keeping it flowing. 23 is a 5, and 5 is about adapting. So stress is defined as an inability to adapt to a changing environment. When your environment changes and you don't adapt, stress is what arises. So the more rapidly you can adapt to a changing environment, the less stress you will tend to experience. Safety Energy Lock number 25 is the adapter. It helps us to adapt to a changing environment so that we can actually move more freely. Literally helps us to go with the flow. So today we've got 5 as the day number from 23, 2 and 3 is a 5, as well as, of course, we've got the same number in the euro position. So we've got 2 5s that are strongly influencing the energy of the day. So 5, as I said to you before, is about adaptation. 5 is about putting off old things in order to adapt to new ones. It's about movement. It's about being able to be flexible. It's about becoming inventive. It's about being able to think on our feet. 5 is a very extroverted kind of air number. It's about networking. It's about making connections. It likes to talk. It's an ideas kind of energy as opposed to necessarily a practical following through kind of energy. So that's the danger that we have today, is that we are very, very stuck in the head potentially, and that we've got all these ideas buzzing around and all these things we want to do and everything that needs to be accomplished and all these new ways of doing and all the people that we need to connect with in order to get this done. But the actual practical follow through is difficult. Now, you have to have the idea before you can have the follow through. So one of the things that 5 also helps us do, or can sometimes railroad us in doing, is that it wants us to get things done too quickly. And as a result of that, we end up feeling as if we're stuck on a treadmill to nowhere. And that is essentially what then stops us from being able to flow effectively. And that's what leads to the stress. So the benefits of this energy is that we're very adaptive. We can think on our feet. We can deal with surprises. Curveballs may come, but we can actually adapt to them really easily. We can find new ways of doing things. We can find new ways of being. We can invent. We can find completely different ways of doing and being and even thinking for ourselves today. And we can harness this networking, outgoing energy. 5 is a number that's associated with sales, literally with sales, right? So we can sell ourselves today. I mean that in the best possible sense, as in you can sell an idea, you can sell a concept, you can sell your gifts and talents in terms of being able to display them and being able to portray them authentically. That is a huge possibility or opportunity that we have today. What we have to guard against is trying to get too much done in too little time, essentially trying to push too hard, trying to push too hard in terms of trying to get too many people involved, or trying to push too hard to make that sale. You know, when someone is pushing too hard to make a sale, that generally puts the person who's being sold to off. So we need to guard against that. We also need to guard against potential anxiety about not getting things done quickly enough. We might find ourselves becoming hypercritical today as well. 5s are very, very good at spotting mistakes. So today would be a good day, for example, to edit that manual or edit that document one more time before you send it off, because your perception of the errors will be really good. The drawback is the perception of the errors in ourselves and in other people is also going to be potentially heightened today. And 5 struggles to let it go. So 5 can't just see it and then let it go. 5 needs it to be corrected in themselves and in others. So we need to guard against that today. Luckily, we've got the 7 energy of July, only for a few more days though, but we've got that 7 energy of July that helps us to connect to ourselves, to connect to the bigger picture, to be able to connect to that part of us that is limitless, that has all the time in the world, essentially, that doesn't have to get it done today. We also have the 2 of 2018 that helps to keep us in balance. It helps us to see both sides. It helps us to connect deeply with our emotions. The elements in the life map today are mostly air and water and fire. There's no earth element in the life map, so we have to guard against not being grounded. Too many ideas, too many ambitions, too much creativity, too much getting trapped in the head and getting trapped in the mind, and therefore end up becoming anxious and potentially burning ourselves out. So again, earthing practices today would be very valuable, such as barefoot on the ground outside, not inside. It's got to be on a natural surface. Deep breathing, a grounding meditation, warm cooked food, root vegetables, proteins. All of those things help to keep us grounded. Hydrating well is really important today as well, because that will help with the circulation maintenance. If you're dehydrated, the flow of fluids in your body is not going to be optimal. The villain today is the 1. So you'll remember I just said that the 5 energy can be very critical, not critical, it can be good at finding the error and correcting it. 1 in the villain position, as those of you who watch these clips regularly know, means that that's the critical voice in our head that potentially is very prominent and is what stops us from being able to adapt and invent and what's the word? Like, you know, when the chrysalis opens and the butterfly, the pupa turns into the butterfly. Metamorphose. That's the word I'm looking for, right? It inhibits that. So 1 in the villain position decreases our confidence, essentially, and decreases our self-esteem, which is what might hold us back from actually selling what it is we want to sell. Whether it's an idea you're selling to yourself, whether it's a new health program that you're embarking on, whether it's a new business idea, whether it's following through with something that you've already got in motion, that 1 in the villain position may well railroad us, because today we might become hypercritical of ourselves. Today the 1 in the villain position helps us to spot the flaws as opposed to spotting the gifts. So when you know that is there, then be aware of how you speak to yourself today. Be aware of whether you're being kind to yourself or not. If you ask yourself the question, is this nourishing or is this punishing? Then that will give you a valuable insight as to whether the critical voice is active or not. I taught a workshop this weekend, and somebody gave a testimony about a talk of mine that they'd been to before, and in this I said to them, ask yourself the question of whether this is nourishing or punishing, because most of the time we punish ourselves. And what this particular person has done is she set a timer on her iPad to go off every 45 minutes, a reminder, and then it flashes on her screen, nourishing or punishing, so that she constantly is asking herself during the course of the day, is what I'm doing, thinking, or saying, is it nourishing or is it punishing? Not just to yourself, but to others also. So that is a valuable tool. So today, that would be the key. Is it nourishing or is it punishing? If you find that it's punishing, then you want to try and change that, okay? If your critical voice is hyper present, you want to ask, and it's saying things like, you're too fat, you're too ugly, you're too stupid, you're not enough, then ask yourself if that is the truth, because it never is entirely the truth. If you can find 1 sliver of evidence in your life to indicate that is not 100% the truth, that will silence the critical voice. Fortunately, of course, we've got Jinshin Jyutsu to help us. Safety Energy Lock number 23 is located on the little finger. The little finger harmonizes the heart and small intestine organ function energy, so it brings balance between the analyzing function of the 5 and the feeling function of the 2s and the 7s. It brings balance between the heart and the small intestine. The small intestine is the analyzer, and the heart is the one that radiates its light out into the world. It also harmonizes the attitudes of trying to and pretending, when we're trying too hard, when we're trying to get too many things done, when we're trying to meet too many expectations, when we have unrealistic expectations of ourselves and other people. When we hold our little fingers, it helps to harmonize that energy and calm it down. It also helps to calm down and soothe the nervous system. Hope you have an amazing Monday, and I'll speak to you again tomorrow.